If you've ever felt like you might not be worthy of your success, you might have what psychologists call imposter syndrome. It's actually where you feel like you are a fraud in your own success and that you're going to actually be caught in some type of lie, or maybe it's luck that you've achieved this success.
In this episode, we're going to be unpacking ways for you to stop thinking that you're an imposter.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Jessie.
And welcome back to our channel dedicated to content for creative entrepreneurs, because we're creative entrepreneurs. We're the founders of Hive magazine and also TV show hosts and producers of Art Adventures of the Palm Beaches that airs on South Florida PBS.
Who would have thought?
What is imposter syndrome? Because I feel like a lot of people have this, but they don't realize that it's actually a thing.
Yeah, it's a real term.
Yeah.
We're not just making it up. So imposter syndrome will be when you are successful, but you feel like that success is hindered on maybe a spur of good luck or even a lie. And so you kind of feel fraudulent in that success. And I know that you and I definitely felt this in the beginning of our own careers. And I think it really happened once we had started getting celebrities on our front cover.
Like, you feel that your success was almost by mistake.
Yeah, whoops, how'd this happen?
Yeah, we tripped into it. And there's actually a study, and we'll write the study down in the description box, that states, it's a 2011 study that states that up to 70% of Americans feel that they've had imposter syndrome in their careers.
Which sounds like a staggering number, because I don't think this is something that people often talk about. Mm-hmm. Or would you really want to be like, I feel like an imposter right now? Nobody wants to declare this out to the world. But it is something that, especially as a creative person, you might have felt and maybe didn't even really acknowledge it. So we want to share the tips on how to break that spiral.
How to wipe it away.
Tip number 1. Every failure is a learning opportunity. I mean, think about the moment that we are in right now. We have had this happen to us.
Everyone, you know, has been affected.
Yes. And so you feel like this sense of feeling unworthy and why is this happening to me? But, every time that something changes, or let's just say maybe a failure occurs, it really is an opportunity to stop, reflect, rethink about what you're doing, slow down, and say, was that the best path for me? Is that something I should have gone down? And even if there is a failure that occurs, how can I learn from this? It's not something that's a failure. It's just something that's that happened, and you just move on from it.
And it's also, I think, the way that we have to address what failure is, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We feel like if it doesn't go exactly the way we pictured, then somehow it was not worth doing.
Yeah.
That it was a wash.
I have that problem sometimes, too. I will admit.
Yeah. So I lost my train of thought. That's not a failure.
It's not.
I'm gonna keep moving on.
You can keep thinking until you figure it out.
Yeah.
And even if you don't figure out, that's okay too. Yeah. So, I mean, especially with being a creative entrepreneur, I feel like you have the best of both worlds. You are able to adapt, modify, and reevaluate, and essentially, aren't we now all evolving in this new path and journey we're all on?
Yes. So tip number 2 is to create a new system of reaching your goals. If you create a system of goals and make them small, attainable goals to ultimately reach your larger goal, it'll be a lot less daunting and more attainable, I think. Yeah. Worrying is not going to help you attain those goals.
I have a problem with worrying. That's how I think my anxiety comes out is I worry, which doesn't help at all, because then you're just thinking about negative things, right? You're not really fixing the problem. You're just thinking about the problem, which doesn't help at all.
This whole situation, it's a marathon. It's not a race. And your goals are only for you. That has to do a lot with having to prove yourself on social media, I think. Whereas every move,
terrible.
Yeah, every move you make, you have to make this proclamation to social media as if not saying something is going to not make it happen. I almost feel like it's the opposite, right?
Well, I believe, and we believe, how about that? We believe that it's quality over quantity. There are some people that feel the opposite, and I mean, that's what they believe in, but have you ever just seen somebody that's either oversharing or giving out too much information? If they just maybe slow down and say, let me think about these next 3 things I'm going to do. Maybe I can do 1 instead of all 3. It would be a lot better than doing, you don't have to just produce to produce,
You're
so
spreading yourself too thin.
It's hard when it's on social media. It feels like a race against everybody else, but it's against yourself.
Yeah, what is that saying, that don't compare yourself to everyone else's highlight reel?
Yeah. So this slides nicely into what we were just kind of mentioning here, but tip number 3, which is to break procrastination habits. Rather than saying everything that I'm going to accomplish, break them out into small, achievable goals that are actually something that you can accomplish. So let's use an example. We're not going to sit here and record the next 100 video ideas that we have and do this marathon weekend of filming our videos because it's ridiculous, but
it's
also
not realistic.
Maybe we're going to change our minds. Maybe if we would have done those 100, we could have been like, hey, maybe we could have done half of those and the other 50 suck,
Yeah.
So that happens to us all the time. Well, we'll take an idea and we'll slow it down and we'll say, thank God we didn't do it the first time we had the idea.
We've had a lot of those.
Yes. I think we did that with our podcast. I think we wanted to launch it like 2 years prior. We had a different title, we had a different name, and then we waited, and then we did it, and we were so thankful because it just came out so much better. So
our next tip has to do with social media, I feel, a lot. Reminding yourself that your character is not directly correlated with your performance. And I think that's incredibly difficult for people to separate their work and their worth.
Oh, I like that.
I just made it up.
I know, I could tell.
Like what Angela was mentioning before, even if you fail, it doesn't directly give your life this path like, oh, that's it. Messed up once.
Yeah.
Never can do it again. Regroup and reassess what's important in order to move forward. Yeah. It's a wonderful time for us to all remember that we're not imposters. We're all dealing with this together.
Tip number 5. Most people feel like they're faking it, and that's also okay, but then also it's okay not to fake it. I mean, not everybody's at the top of their game. No matter what stage you're at, no matter where you are in your career, it doesn't matter. As long as you're moving forward, that's all that counts. And so even if you do feel like an imposter, remember, so does everybody else. I hope you enjoyed this episode on imposter syndrome, and make sure to leave your comments below and let us know what you've done to challenge your own imposter syndrome.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get fresh new content every week.
And make sure to hit the bell to be notified on new episodes weekly.